with TFG Sports Media, and we are talking NFL. That's right, we've been talking NFL pretty much starting since Monday, and today is the official opening of the new league year for the NFL in 2024. We all know, you all know, if you've been paying attention, that we got a lot of free agency movement that's been going down since Monday. Well, Monday actually was what they call the legal tampering period, which means that you can talk with prospective free agents, you can get deals worked out and all that, but you cannot officially sign them until today. And that is at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, 4 p.m. Eastern, that you can get these deals signed that's already in place. And we've already talked about a lot of the big moves, especially at the running back position. That was the biggest position where we had a lot of free agents. There were no franchise tags used on running backs this offseason. None of them. So that meant that teams weren't looking to pay a double-digit number for running backs. For a lot of running backs this season, they were looking to either get them some contract extensions or let them walk in free agency. As we saw, all of the teams that had the running backs that were available, that were looking for a bigger contract, they all let them become unrestricted free agents. Those running backs, again, were the Giant Saquon Barkley, well, former Giant now, Saquon Barkley, former Cowboy Tony Pollard, former Charger Austin Eckler, former Titans Derrick Henry, and former Raiders Josh Jacob, and former Eagles DeAndre Swift. All those running backs were free agents, and they all signed with or will be signing their deals on today, starting at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, 4 p.m. Eastern, with their new clubs. Barkley stayed in the NFC East. He's going to the Eagles. Former Cowboy Tony Pollard, he moves to the AFC South. He's going to the Tennessee Titans. And the Chargers, former Charger Austin Eckler, he moves to the NFC East. He signed with the Washington Commanders. Derrick Henry, he moves to the NFC North and gives that Ravens a potent 1-2 punch in the run game. He's going to the Ravens. And Josh Jacobs, I think this was the surprise of all the running backs, at least for me. He signed a deal, pretty decent deal, with the Green Bay Packers as well. And the Packers would release Aaron Jones, who would then sign with the Minnesota Vikings on a one-year, $7 million deal. And then the former Eagle DeAndre Swift, he signed a 3-year, $24.5 million deal with the Bears. Tony Pollard's deal was 3 years, $24 million with the Titans. Derrick Henry's deal with the Ravens was a 2-year, $18 million deal. Austin Eckler, I believe he signed a 2-year, like $12 million deal with the Commanders. Josh Jacobs' deal was like 3 years, 34 million. I can't remember what his exactly was. And Saquon Barkley got the biggest deal out of the running backs. It's like a $38 million deal with roughly 24 million of it guaranteed. So those are what's happening. And then the Texans, they traded for a running back because the Bengals were going to release longtime running back Joe Mixon, but they worked out a trade. So Joe Mixon is now a Texan. So the running back position are all gone. So again, they can sign those deals starting today at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we'll see what happens. Now, I just want to get you up to date on what's going on now, the latest on player movement. From what I'm seeing, I'm on ESPN.com, just some of the bigger names. The 49ers did, I think they made a trade for Malik Collins. The 49ers, Malik Collins, defensive tackle with the Houston Texans, who was with the Cowboys previously. The 49ers made a deal. I think they sent the Texans a lower draft pick for Malik Collins. I do know that. They also, the 49ers restructured fullback Kyle Juszczyk. They agreed to the restructure of his deal. So he's going to stay with the Niners right there. I did see where the Eagles, they reached an agreement with their kicker Jake Elliott on a 4-year deal, which is the $6 million average per year, which makes him tied with the highest picker ever in NFL history. He and Justin Tucker. They are the highest paid kickers in NFL history. Again, so Elliott is coming off a good year of this past season. I want to thank the Asian kid Quan. How you doing? Thanks for dropping in, Rashawn. Yo, what's happening? Good Wednesday afternoon to you. We're talking again. The NFL league season opens today, the new league year. So now all these contracts and all these player signings and all that, they can officially sign those contracts on today. Let's see what else. Again, like I said, the Texans did trade defensive tackle Malik Collins to the 49ers. What's going on? Oh, I have a East Texas connection. I'm in Tyler, Texas. If you don't know where Tyler, Texas is, first of all, it's the home of the Tyler Rolls, the Hall of Fame great running back Earl Campbell. Where we got some news on a former Tyler High Lion, outside linebacker Tyus Bowser for the Baltimore Ravens. Unfortunately, the sources have confirmed they are releasing Tyus Bowser. They're releasing him today. They say they're going to clear up at least $5.5 million under their salary cap. Tyus Bowser was a former second-round pick, and he had signed a 4-year, $22 million contract in 2021. He's had a couple of injuries the last couple of years. So again, just for my East Texas people, especially Tyler High, the John Tyler, actually is where I went to school. Tyus Bowser has been released by the Ravens, and I'm sure he's gonna sign with someone else. Wink, wink. Dallas Cowboys. Wink, wink. Y'all need some linebacker help. Speaking of the Dallas Cowboys, they have been very quiet in free agency. If you don't know, they've only signed one player, and it is one of their own. They signed a long snapper to an extension. They've lost a couple of players, i.e. Tony Pollard, running back. They lost edge rusher Dorrance Armstrong. I believe he went to the Commanders, if I'm not mistaken. They lost their center, Tyler Bayadash. I can never say his name correctly. They lost him as well. So they've lost a few players. Dante Fowler. I believe they lost the edge rusher Dante Fowler as well. He's headed to the Commanders as well. Rashawn says, I thought Jimmy Johnson was supposed to be advisor. Hey, he is, but here's the kicker on that, Rashawn. Stephen Jones is the man when it comes to free agency and salary cap. He's the guy that handles the money. And Stephen Jones does not spend money in free agency. He's kind of taken over that role the last couple of years. If you have noticed, the Cowboys haven't made a big free agent signing. I mean, they did sign Dante Fowler in free agency, but outside of him, and that wasn't that big of a signing. They haven't spent a whole lot of money in free agency since they signed Brandon Carr, that cornerback from Kansas City. A few years back, when they paid him a whole lot of money, like a 5-year, $50 million deal, they signed him to in free agency. The Cowboys, Stephen Jones don't work like that. Stephen Jones is big on drafting and paying the guys that they draft. That's his formula. He doesn't spend money in free agency. But then you got Jerry Jones talking to the media and said they're going to go all in this year. Well, if you're going to go all in to me means that you're going to go after players that you think can help you, and those players a lot of times are free agents. So no, a lot of Cowboy fans aren't very happy with the Cowboys. They hadn't spent any money in free agency. Rashawn says, so they're basically rebuilding by getting draft picks every year. That's their formula, at least for right now. That's what Stephen Jones, that's how he operates. They want to build through the draft, pay their players once they get to a long-term, get to that extension or 5-year deal, pay them or either let them walk. They either pay their own players or they let them walk. That's kind of Stephen Jones' formula. It's, by the way, I forgot to mention left tackle Tyron Smith. He's in the free agent market right now, but he hasn't signed with anybody. But Jerry Jones did leave the door open for them, basically saying that they could bring him back. But we'll see what happens with that. So again, a lot of these players, it's still going to be some more willing to deal. And believe me, free agency is not closed. It just opened. There's going to be some other moves, I'm sure, being made. But right now, if I had to pick the winners and the losers, the two teams that come to my mind that's the winner so far in free agency, it's the Baltimore Ravens and the Houston Texans. I think both those teams have and I got to throw the Eagles in there too. They were aggressive and they made some good signings. I think the Texans they did their thing. Getting Joe Mixon at running back, even though they missed out on Saquon Barkley. They got that edge rusher from the Vikings too. The Texans did. They re-signed Dalton Schultz, who had a pretty solid year. So I think the Texans has done well coming off that great season that they had with their rookie outstanding quarterback C.J. Stroud. So they doing. I think they've done well. And the Eagles, what can you say about them? That Saquon Barkley pick. That's definitely a big one for them. And they brought back C.J. Gardner-Johnson as well for their secondary. So they got another player back that had been in the system because the Eagles are kind of going to have to rebuild a little bit too because they, especially the offensive line. Jason Kelsey retired. Then on the defensive line, Fletcher Cox, he longtime Eagles. He retired as well. So they're going to have to be doing look for some ways to get that offensive line better. But now they got a potent offense with Saquon Barkley in the backfield with Jalen Hurts under center, Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown at the wide receiver position, and Dallas Goedert at tight end. So the Eagles looking like they trying to get back to their winning ways because, they had a disappointing last half of the 2023 season where they didn't do much. So those three teams in my mind stick out as far as have won thus far. It's the Eagles, the Texans, and the Ravens. And what can you say about them getting Derrick Henry, who, by the way, I thought the Cowboys was going to be aggressive and try to sign him. And, I mean, you look at the deal that he signed with the Ravens, I mean, that's 2 years, $18 million. That's a pretty deep – that's not a lot of money. The Cowboys, you telling me the Cowboys didn't have that type of money to spend? Because who are they going to have at running back now? Who's going? Unless they're looking at some guy in the draft, they looking at. And I don't think this draft is real running back heavy when you talk about a lot of talent there. So I don't know what they're going to do. I think they got Malik Davis and what's the other kid that they got there as well at running back. So maybe that's the route that they're going to go. Will Ezekiel Elliott find his way back to the Cowboys? People been saying that could happen too. I don't know. So yeah, the Cowboys definitely. When I say about being quiet, they've been very quiet. They haven't done anything in free agency. And I also have to say that another team that I think that's just basically dumping salaries that hadn't done anything is the Denver Broncos. Obviously, we already know about Russell Wilson being released. He's signing that one-year deal with the Pittsburgh Steelers, but they're dumping salaries left and right. They're dumping Pro Bowl they safety Justin Simmons, I believe. They released him, so they just dumping money every which way but loose. Again, and the Ravens they accumulating draft picks too. I'm on ESPN.com. They've already got 9 draft picks in this upcoming draft, which, by the way, it begins the end of April, and it is in Detroit, this NFL Draft 2024. So, again, a new league year. It is open today where all these teams, all these players now can sign all those contracts that we've already been talking about the last couple of days. The Falcons, what can you say about Kirk Cousins? I was reading a graphic about him the other day. I think he's been in the league 12 years. He has made right at $400 million in his career in salary. If you remember, he was drafted with RG3 by the Washington Commanders, and he ended up being franchise tagged twice with the Commanders. Then he would eventually, I think they released him. He would sign a lucrative deal with the Vikings. He had been there 5 seasons, I believe. So now he signed that 4-year, $110 million deal, 100 of it guaranteed with the Falcons. So that guy, you talking about making money, he's definitely made that money in his 12, 13 years in the league. Now, just getting some word, the Chargers are releasing wide receiver Mike Williams. Per source, the move will save the Chargers $20 million against their cap, and Williams will become a free agent. So there's another wide receiver now that is going to be a free agent. We already got Odell Beckham Jr. If you didn't know, he's a free agent. No one has signed him yet. Then we have Calvin Ridley, with the Jaguars. He's a free agent. So the Chargers, they got some salary cap issues as well. As far as the Chargers, I was reading something where they thinking about maybe releasing linebacker Khalil Mack and Nick Bosa. Oh no, which one? I can't remember. Which one's with the Chargers? I think it's Joey Bosa is with the Chargers. Yeah, Joey Bosa. So the Chargers with their new head coach Jim Harbaugh, now they looking to make some moves and get rid of some salary cap. Again, they lost running back Austin Eckler to the Commanders, but they did sign former Ravens running back Gus Edwards. Gus Edwards will be with the Chargers. So they just swapped out. They replaced him there. So again, that word just came down that Mike Williams has been released by the Chargers. So it's gonna be willing and dealing from here on out until we get to the NFL draft. You're gonna see more as far as quarterbacks out there. Like I just talked about, Kirk Cousins signed with the Atlanta Falcons. You got Sam Darnold signed a 1-year deal with the Minnesota Vikings, who now he's going to compete for that starting job in Minnesota. Jameis Winston signed a 1-year deal with the Cleveland Browns. I did see that. Who else as far as the quarterbacks out there? Marcus Mariota, he signed with the Washington Commanders. He signed a 1-year deal, I believe. So it is a lot going on in the signing world as far as quarterbacks. So there you have it. It's going to be some more willers and dealers. I got to talk about Patriots. They traded, if you didn't know, Mac Jones. They made that trade on Sunday, traded him to the Jacksonville Jaguars for a 6th-round draft pick in this upcoming draft. The Chiefs did re-sign a 3-time Super Bowl champion defensive tackle Chris Jones. They signed him to a 5-year, $95 million guaranteed contract. I think $60 million. It is $110 million, I believe, and I think $95 million of that is guaranteed. No, $60 million of that is guaranteed in the first 3 years. So they did re-sign defensive tackle Chris Jones. That was the word that he probably was going to be out of there, but that is not the case. What else can we talk about? Who else is out there? Linebacker Bobby Wagner is still out there. Edge rusher Jadeveon Clowney is still out there. And cornerback for the Cowboys, Stephon Gilmore, he's still out there. And Baker Mayfield, he re-upped with the Buccaneers. And I think that's edge rusher Chase Young, he's still out there as well. So he don't know if he's going to be back with the Niners or not as well. And running back A.J. Dillon for the Packers, he is still out there as well. So there you have it. Get your up-to-date news on what's happening with NFL free agency. The new league year did open today. As far as the salary cap, all teams have to be under the salary cap by 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today. The salary cap number for this year is $255.4 million. That means that is how much teams have to spend on players' contracts. And that is, by the way, the highest amount in NFL history since the salary cap has been introduced. And I think salary cap now has been around since 1991 or 92. And I think Jerry Jones was one of the spearheads behind this salary cap. Just to let you know, if you didn't know, I think the salary cap started in 1991, 92-ish, somewhere around there. So we're looking at, a little over 30 years now since the NFL has had this salary cap. And this is where we are today. So if anything else jumps off, any big names that move or be released, definitely keep it locked here to TFG Sports Media for all your sports info and entertainment. And I am the sports guy, Kendrick. Oh, by the way, I do got to mention this too. It's somewhat sports. I was reading where I think Robert Kennedy Jr. is looking to make Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers his VP if he runs for president. He wants to make Aaron Rodgers, who is the Jets quarterback, starting quarterback, his VP choice in his run for the presidency. Again, Robert Kennedy Jr. So go figure. Didn't even know that Aaron Rodgers had any type of political ambitions, and so we'll see how that works, if that even happens. So just I threw that out there, let you guys know that we got some news like that. So again, make sure you keep it locked here for all your sports information and entertainment. I am Kendrick, the sports guy, and you all have a good one. And like I say, make sure you hit that notification bell to be alerted whenever I go live, whenever I post new content. And go check out some of the content that's already posted on the channel. We would definitely appreciate it. So you guys enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Hope you have a good one. We will see you on the other side and on the next report. I am out. Peace.